Okay, first of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Royal Canyon Property Owners Association Council Candidates Forum for 2026. Thank you. We're going to have all 12 of the 12 candidates agree to show up today. They took time out of their schedule to be here, so let's give them a round of applause. Right. Okay, by the way, if you happen to be in Royal Canyon or Greenbrier Canyon and you aren't a member of RCPOA and you would like to become a member, obviously one of the things we try to do is keep people up to date as to what's going on in the community, as well as doing some social events. There's a QR code in the back there that you can scan and sign up. My name is Byron Hibden, by the way. I'm president of RCPOA, and I'll be making a few opening comments and a few closing comments. And asking the questions today will be Paul Karapetian. He's a board member of RCPOA, and our timer down front is going to be my husband, Renee Marino, and he'll be doing the timing and letting the candidates know when they're coming up on time. So the format today, we're going to open up with 12 questions, one question for each one of the individual candidates. So we'll be asking them one specific question. They'll have 90 seconds to answer each question. And then after those individual questions, and by the way, candidates, if you want to take just a brief moment to say something about yourselves before you answer your first question, feel free to do that since we don't have opening introductions. And after that, we're going to go into a series of group questions and yes/no questions. And the group questions, we'll be asking about 6 candidates for each one of those questions, again with 90 minutes response. And candidates will be asking you some yes/no questions as well, and we would prefer that you just keep it to yes/no, and if you really feel like you need to make a comment perhaps on your next question, you can add a comment about your last response for your yes/no questions. And please, obviously, we're going to give you a 15-second warning before the end of your 90 seconds, and then the red paddle will come up, meaning stop, and obviously, please stop on time. We are planning to go about an hour and 45 minutes, so we'll be here at about 3:45, just so everybody knows. Audience, please try to keep your applause to the minimum. We want to have as much time as we can to ask the candidates questions. We do have some, well, before I say that, I lost track here. Oh, so keep your applause to a minimum, please. Please be respectful of the candidates. No calling out, interrupting people, no jeering. We appreciate it. Let's all keep this very civil today. And if you would like to ask a question, we have some index cards back in the back with some pencils back there. Fill them out, see me, hand them in to me. We'll be reviewing those, and if we've got time at the end, we'll include some audience questions as well. And then just last 2 quick comments about logistics. If you need the restroom, it's out and to the right, out the door there. And when you leave the parking lot, if you left in the parking structure, if you haven't been in that structure before, you enter down at the bottom and you're going to go up a couple of levels whenever you exit. So go up a couple levels to exit. Okay, so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Paul, who's going to get this show on the road.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Good? All right. So we're lucky we have 12 candidates, 4 basically running for each of the 3 open seats. So I'm going to do my best to make sure everybody gets an equal chance to answer a question. Okay, we're going to start in alphabetical order, going from our left to our right. Mr. Agajanian. Glendale added 6,000 new rental units in the last decade. Can't hear you. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm new to this. Okay. Glendale added 6,000 new rental units in the last decade. Many of them came online during your first term in office. In LA County, renters stay in their apartments on average 3.5 years. The average homeowner in Glendale lives in their home for 20 years. Do large apartment buildings lead to more stable communities or less stable ones in your view? Do large apartment buildings lead to more stable communities or less stable ones in your view? Oh, okay. I don't know how to do this. Okay.
The word, I missed the word.
Do large apartment buildings lead to more stable communities or less stable ones in your view?
Well, it depends. It's hard to say, I'm sorry. Making more units, it depends how we approach to the situation. So making it more safe is depending if you have enough police officers to make the city safe. It's not just one building. You can't say make it safe a small area or a community unless you have your police department. When I was there, our police department, although we have 1.2 police officers per population, but this is one of the safest cities in entire United States. And I do not believe to make it more units or less units will impact on that directly. So we have to have a plan that whether we're gonna follow with the providing enough resources to police officers to make our city safer. People like neighborhood services or people who are in their neighborhood, when they are alert, if a stranger comes to the neighborhood and notify other people that there is somebody is stranger is walking or knocking the doors, if what we had before, that knocking the door and hiding in the bushes to see if somebody will come or not. It all depends. The neighborhood they have to be ready for protecting others.
Thank you. Mrs. Satra, at the Northwest Glendale HOA Candidates Forum, you mentioned that Glendale should work with other cities to fight Sacramento to retain local control. You've been on council for 4 years now. What work have you done to work with other cities to fight against Sacramento?
First and foremost, thank you all for joining. I'm happy to see such a huge crowd out here, and thank you for the HOA for organizing. I'm actually going to be flying out to Sacramento this evening to be lobbying again for our city, and that includes fighting for SB 79 amendments that are going to be impacting our city. I'll say that as mayor, I actually initiated for us to do a Glendale Advocacy Day for the first time in the history of our city, where we went up with staff. But I think it requires, again, with SB 79 or any of these bills that are having an impact across California, it requires all of us to coordinate with Cal Cities and League of Cities to be able to move the needle, because one city alone is not going to be able to do that. And so that is my background. I'm committed to that, and I'm actually excited that we have a staff member as well as a contract with a lobbyist now that has an array of lobbyists under them that would be able to help us with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Balakian, you've campaigned heavily on addressing reckless drivers. Reckless driving was a top issue in last year's survey of Glendale residents. What's your plan to tackle reckless driving, and why will it work?
Thank you, Mr. Karpetian. So I am Alex Balekian. Dr. Alex, my patients call me, so you can do the same. I'm running for city council for 3 reasons: to crack down on reckless drivers, to lower electricity rates, and to limit dense housing away from single-family neighborhoods and away from small business parking lots. Now, allow me to finish, please. Reckless driving is an issue that seems to be unique to LA. We have an Instagram account called Only in Glendale. Sorry, unique to Glendale. If you've ever been to Orange County, and I was recently working in Orange County for 4 months, every other street has a sign that says loud exhaust enforced. There are laws. There are loud exhaust laws that are $200 a piece. There are reckless driving laws that are $1,000 a piece. You can't tell me that we can't pin a reckless driving conviction on any of these kids or adults speeding down Glen Oaks, speeding down all of our streets. Our police have to be empowered and supported by their city council. That is what I intend to do. I want to be there to say, we will have your back. The city attorney will have your back if any of these people tries to fight that reckless driving ticket in court. And they don't want to be thrown under the bus by our city council members who would do so if it is politically expedient for them. At that moment, I would never do that. That is how I would solve that problem.
Thank you. Mr. Barchersoff, as a founding member of Walk Bike Glendale, you've been a strong advocate for dedicated bicycle infrastructure, including the North Grand Boulevard bike lane and the city's bicycle transportation plan. The draft plan has a price tag of $100 to $500 million and 91 miles of bike lanes proposed for the city. How should the city prioritize spending between maintaining existing roads and building new bike lanes, particularly given our current budget constraints?
I'm a proud founding member of Walk Bike Glendale. It's a local organization that has done a lot of work in our community, including giving hundreds, if not thousands, of helmets to young kids, providing safety equipment for kids and adults to ride safely on our streets. And I'm not apologetic about my advocacy for safer streets in our community. Related to that is something that the community has been asking for a very long time, and it's in the polling that the city has done and other agencies have done, that traffic safety is the #1 concern for the residents of our city. So as a transportation planner who has over 10 years of transportation planning experience, I bring a unique skill to addressing that issue head on and quickly. I also want to dispel the myth that bike lanes cost hundreds of millions of dollars. I work for the Los Angeles Department of Transportation, and the amount of funding that goes to an actual bicycle lane is minuscule. There are lots of, there's money that goes into capital improvement projects, asphalt repair, stormwater retention, tree wells, curb ramps, curb repair. That is the bulk and the majority of the funding that goes into capital improvement projects, and we need to stop talking about the myth that bike lanes cost billions of dollars in our city. Thank you.
Ms. Brooks, national partisanship has crept into Glendale's local politics. You've cited the need for transparency in decision-making and rejecting corrupting influences over partisan ideologies. What concrete policy changes would you implement?
Okay, thank you for having us. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Paul. When I first got involved in watching city council meetings, that's really what astounded me. I couldn't really understand some of their decision-making because it didn't seem to follow what people would do in their own private lives. It didn't have priorities. It was often arbitrary. It wasn't objective. It didn't take into account cost-benefit analyses. Talking about something like bike lanes, 1% of the population in Glendale rides a bike, 80% drive a car. I mean, I don't even know how you would weigh those two things together. So, I mean, there are just, it's not rocket science to use common sense, and it just seems that people make situations and spending sound complicated because it's really their ideology. Either it's their ideology because of their political party, it's their ideology because of their associates, it's ideology because of their donors. So I think you have to remove that, and especially when the city is facing development issues, you have to be very careful who you vote for, who is involved in development. I am just sending that out there. So you have to see what benefit do they get? Oftentimes it's actually an intractable ideology. Like with the bike lanes where one council member voted against 4 council members to take out bike lanes that nobody wanted. So you just have to use common sense.
Thank you. Mr. Broadman, in an interview last September, you stated that progressive cities like Culver City, Santa Monica, and Berkeley lead the way, and that you look to them for ideas on ordinances and policies. Culver City in 2021 passed passed a resolution committing the city to creating a reparations system that includes direct housing assistance, city employment preferences, and other forms of reparations targeted at people of color and those of non-Christian religious faiths. Santa Monica established a $3.5 million restorative justice fund, and Berkeley attempted to ban natural gas appliances from new construction. Do you support any of these policies? How do you envision making Glendale more like Culver City, Santa Monica, or Berkeley?
Every city does some things well and it does some things that are not so good. So just because I say I admire some of the things that Culver City and Burbank, Santa Monica do, doesn't mean that I subscribe to all the things that you just listed. I think it's a bit of a provocative question. They both do pretty good with walkability. Those are safer cities to walk around and bike around. There's cities that have created nice public spaces to create community. There's cities that have vibrant economies and are job magnets. I think all these things are worthy of emulation, and I think things that we can do better. In particular, dealing with the fact that we have one of the worst records of any city of our size in California when it comes to pedestrians who are injured and killed by cars. We are the worst of 66 cities in this, in our size cohort in this state when it comes to specifically pedestrians being injured and killed by cars. These are facts from the Office of Traffic Safety given to us by our police department. We need to address that. Other cities are doing a better job stepping up and making the changes that are needed to keep people safe.
Thank you. Mr. Garubian, for homeowners and businesses alike, getting permits in Glendale takes significantly longer, costs more, and is more complicated than it was just 10 years ago. You've campaigned on cutting red tape and supporting local entrepreneurs. Can you name a few of the challenges, and what are your proposed solutions?
Thank you to the Homeowners Association first for the event. Thank you for everyone to coming on a Sunday afternoon. Yes, first things first, our policies that we have in place, it's outdated. A lot of things have changed and we keep accumulating new rules and regulations on top of the old one. So even the city department is confused who to give permit to, who doesn't. And it takes longer because it's a confusing policies that it's already in place, that it's some are outdated and some are just obsolete. So we need to minimize that, reconsider that, sit down and see what is it that we need to have our developers really in today's market, whether it's zoning, whether it's safety, whether it's to save for energy or utilities. If we have the solid policies in place, so the department also knows how to improve this process and speed it up. A lot of people say that we are short in staff. Yeah, maybe we're short in staff, but guess what? We have technology now. We can use AI to help the staff to speed up the process. That doesn't mean we should replace them. It's pretty much helping them to assist them with more assistance to get that process faster and help the developers to come to our city and develop more what's really good for the residents, not high-density properties.
Thank you. Mr. Gregorian, as recently as 2000, the city used to set aside a certain percentage of sales tax revenue towards the city's capital improvement needs, such as roads, parks, facilities. By 2015, that percentage had dropped to 0. Today, the city budgets approximately $10 million a year for deferred capital projects, including roads. Do you have a plan to stop kicking the can down the road on our annual deferred capital projects?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Gabriel Gregorian. I'm architectural business owner and the builder. And how we can raise more money into the budget, one of those is bringing more businesses into Glendale. Right now, because based on my experience, I know that not many businesses want to join Glendale because, as Mr. Varibian already said, the permitting process, it takes forever. We know just a small fast food place took 3 years until he could open it. So that's why not any investor and not any businessman wants to join Glendale. So if we expedite the permitting process, I'm talking a lot about the permitting process because it's based on my experience personally that I had to face it. And if we expedite the permitting process, more and more businesses will join into the city and we will get more revenue because the small businesses are the moving engine of the city. But if the small businesses stay out, and even during the permitting process, some of the small businesses get bankrupt on the rents that they are paying during these 3 years. And we can see that they are paying over $300,000 during 3 years in the rent. So they get bankrupt and don't even open. We can have more job opportunities by solving this problem and more taxes we can collect into the budget without raising any taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Kalustian. The question is about local businesses. A common concern among them is that it is getting increasingly difficult and expensive to do business in the city. What would you do to make it easier and less expensive for businesses to operate in Glendale?
So I'm Dr. Carolyn Kalustian, family physician and senior specialist, also a public health leader. I'm running for 4 reasons, and they all start with B. There's not enough buy-in and public awareness with changes that are going on. The budget seems like there's an efficiency problem. The bills are going up without a plan for the next 3 years. And then there's blind spots with different changes that are going on that are affecting the well-being of our residents. And so that's why I'm running. So for small businesses, we want to make sure we help in every way we can. What I propose are a few things. We want to make sure that small businesses have streamlined paperwork to get going. What else we want to do is we want to make sure that we can provide more visibility, access, foot traffic. And those of you who are checking out my platform, we do propose a solar electric vintage trolley that could potentially connect the small business districts and help in being clean. And so I think with these ways, we can support small businesses get going and also stay. I don't want to forget that I want to donate my city council salary to small businesses to support the facade to be safer and design out crime. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manatsakanya. Glendale's budget challenges are significant. What are your thoughts on solving those challenges? Are they primarily to raise taxes and fees on residents and businesses, or should the city focus on cutting costs and improving efficiency, or is it a combination of both?
Hello, everyone. I was a little bit late because police stopped the highway. My apologies for that. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Aren't we all tired of fake debates and promises that 90% it doesn't work? That's one. Second, I've been doing advocacy work in Congress for over 12 years. I've done lobbying work. I'm the first Armenian in US history who represented 5 federal laws in US Congress, and I'm doing 4 more on September. I built Glendale Forward. It's a new platform, AI system, that is a system that unites you with the government and gives you the power that you are the government, not us. We are just the tools here. Sad thing is, right now, if you see the forums that it's every Tuesday happening in Glendale, your engagement is the lowest one. You gave the power to, you elected people to be over here, but then they do whatever they want on closed doors. And if we sit down and then say we promises, that's not gonna work. We need your involvement. So Glendale Forward is a system that belongs to you. And you are the voice, you are the government, not us. And I want you to hold me accountable, everything I say, everything I promise to do, because the system is gonna say exactly what has to be done, not just the promises fake. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, the BRT is a dedicated bus route from North Hollywood to Pasadena. SB 79 is a new law that allows residential buildings up to 9 stories within half a mile of a BRT stop. The BRT's 6-mile section is set to cross through Glendale, potentially triggering a massive upzoning of low-density neighborhoods. You've advocated on taking steps to aggressively block the BRT on Glen Oaks to keep it from triggering SB 79. What exactly do you propose to do about it?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the Royal Canyon HOA and all of you to take up your Sunday, beautiful day afternoon to be here. SB 79 is an existential threat to our city in conjunction with the bus rapid transit line. The line is from Alameda to Central, down Central, and then across Broadway. Exclusive bus lanes would trigger SB 79. 9-story apartment buildings within 100 feet of a stop, 7-story apartment buildings within a quarter mile, 5-story apartment buildings within a half a mile. This is a major threat to our community. Burbank sent a letter to Metro asking for a supplemental EIR as a result of SB 79. Our city council, minus Vartan Garpetian and Artie Kasakian, because they were recused from this vote, decided not to send a letter asking for a supplemental EIR. Burbank got an answer from the environmental lawyers inside Metro saying that it wasn't necessary. To me, that's the fox guarding the hen house. What we need to do is we need to join with Burbank and file a CEQA challenge against Metro to do an additional supplemental EIR related to SB 79 and the BRT. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Sari, one of your campaign platforms calls for responsible growth that protects Glendale's character. What aspects of Glendale's character would you try to protect, and how exactly would you do it?
Hi, my name is Evelina Sarian, and I'm running for Glendale City Council because we need to take control of our city's future. Glendale should be shaped by the people who live here, not by Sacramento mandates and outside pressures. What I want to do for my city is to have that self-control in our city and listen to what people want. And people don't want overdevelopment. People want affordable housing for new families. I spoke with firemen, I spoke with police, and very few of them live in Glendale. They just cannot afford to live in Glendale. And these are our service people, our nurses, they don't live in Glendale. So we need to create housing that actually accommodates families, not just transient residents who come for a couple of months and leave in this like small developments across that central that was built and created huge conjunction problems, and now we're dealing with it. So I'm for responsible growth and for developing housing that are accommodating for families. That would be my platform.
Okay, so we've completed the direct questions for each candidate. Now we're going to switch to a mix of questions to a select group and distributed, and yes, no, and a couple questions that will go to everyone. And I want to thank the Northwest Homeowners HOA because you gave us a great template for how to run this thing. So first question. In the recent budget discussions at council, and this is for, the first two are going to go to Mrs. Satrian and Mr. Brotman because no one else is in council. You indicated that you support implementing a commercial vacancy tax and a private parking lot tax. So first to Mrs. Satrian, can you explain what a commercial vacancy tax is and why you support it, and will its costs get passed on to tenants and shoppers?
Sure.
So I will also start by saying that I was the council member that stopped a lot of the taxes from moving forward last year. I did not say that I support the vacancy tax in general. I said I'm interested in exploring it. I don't know enough myself, but I specifically said a vacancy tax for our storefronts. And that is what the reason that I'm looking at storefronts is because our mom and pops and their rent is going up significantly. I've time and again said, how many pancakes do you have to sell to be able to keep your doors open? And in looking at a lot of the properties, whether it's in Montrose, whether it is on Brand Boulevard, there's many areas that are empty and create dead zones. The landlords are not renting them out when they are sitting vacant, waiting for the next person that is gonna come in that they can charge much higher. What I'm looking for is us exploring a system where if they are leaving these storefronts vacant for a long time, then they're taxing and we're able to actually force them to be able to give our mom and pop shops a lower rate that is really the market value and not trying to raise the market value.
Thank you. Mr. Brotman, same question to you, but please focus on the private parking lot tax. What is it? Do you support it? And will the cost get passed on to tenants and shoppers?
Okay. First of all, let me say, Glendale has a structural budget deficit, about $20 million, give or take. This is the result of pension promises that were made 25 years ago that are now coming home to roost. Dr. Alex talks about a spending problem. What the reality is I think he has a comprehension problem. I don't think he understands basic municipal finance because he doesn't understand the difference between the general fund budget and the overall budget. All the increase that he refers to is all about repowering Grayson, and that is in the enterprise budget, and it has nothing to do with where we have a deficit. Now let's talk about another problem he has with the truth. He's saying that we're talking about taxing people that go out shopping. Are you serious? Does anybody actually believe this? The tax that we have talked about, and we have just talked about it, and I don't necessarily support it because I don't think we are at the point where we need taxes. We have a lot of opportunities to find other sorts of revenue. Nonetheless, the tax that we have talked about that we have not yet proposed that would have to go to the voters for approval would be to tax the owners of paid private lots like the Americana, like other lots in the city that have popped up where people charge for people to park. It has absolutely nothing to do with the parking lots where you go shopping. And if Mr. Belekian doesn't understand that, I really feel sorry for him.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Agajanian, so the same question to you regarding the commercial vacancy tax and the private parking lot tax. What are your thoughts on that?
Vacancy tax.
A commercial vacancy tax.
Okay. It's hard to get involved with the businesses. I'm not in support of getting involved with everything. To do that, you have to hire people to follow that. This city, I've been there for 5 years and 4 months. Whatever new ideas you come up with, you have to hire new people. When you hire new people, you're adding to the expenses of this city. So I do not want, I've been there, I know this, any more task you pass along the city, the residents of Glendale, they will not benefit. I want to add something also. I'm running TV station. I'm professional licensed engineer in California. I worked in largest Navy hospital in San Diego. I was a project engineer. Later, for past 26 years, I am TV host and commentator. I'm very familiar with video and voice sound system. They put me in a corner that this speaker, as you see, it's not toward me. And the other one is toward you. That's why in this corner, I'm having problem to hear that what he's saying. And the other thing I want to say is, you guys clapped for everybody here except me. Thank you.
Okay. So, for the record, we apologize. We put everybody alphabetically, and the speakers come with the facility. We didn't set any of these up. So, you should have started your name with a T. I don't know. Okay. Mr. Murphy, same question to you. What's your opinion on these two taxes?
My background, my career for the last 40 years has been working with distressed retail properties, shopping centers that are having difficulty with vacancies, empty Kmarts where I consulted and converted those Kmarts into different uses. A vacancy tax is an absolute disaster. I think what Ms. Asatrian is concerned about is there's one owner up in Montrose that is leaving a couple of his buildings vacant. But you can't take an entire city and apply a vacancy tax. Think about what would happen to office buildings that are really hurting right now. So vacancy tax, there's no way. Public parking tax, again, I've worked with shopping centers for a very long time. And when you tax the people, you reduce sales tax because they won't come. So if you put an additional tax on the Americana, how many people will not go into the Americana? There's an inverse consequence here. If you lose customers, you lose sales tax revenue. Sales tax revenue is our third highest line item for revenue. First is the electricity, second property tax, third is sales tax. Remove customers, reduce sales tax.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Belekian, the same question to you. What's your opinion on these two taxes or fees?
My opinion is no new taxes. Now, first, I'm going to address the minuscule amount of money that goes to bicycle lanes. Inserting and removing the brand bicycle lanes cost our city $1.8 million. Raise your hand if you think that's minuscule. There are only two people on this table who oppose the removal of those bike lanes. Both of them are sitting to my left. Now, as far as taxes go, and Mr. Brotman, I'm flattered that you are attacking me personally, because when you cannot argue the actual question at hand, that means you have nothing to stand on. Raise your hand if you want your city to discuss, even to think about new taxes on you. Raise your hand if you want that. The only reason we are discussing it, the only reason we are thinking about it is because we are in the hole by $34 million. Our city budget, our yearly spending went up by 50%. Did your quality of life go up by 50%? No, but your power bills did. So we are here talking about problems that these people have created. No new taxes. Let's go ahead and bring back the local control. Let's spend as if we would in our own home, on a budget, on the priorities, not on the bells and whistles. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Well, this just keeps going. 10 years ago, Glendale spent about $2,500 a year per household to provide its general services. Now it spends about $4,500 a year, and just for the wonks out there, that is an inflation-adjusted number. Glendale spends nearly twice as much as it did just 10 years ago. Does Glendale have a spending or a revenue problem? So this first goes to Ms. Asatrian.
So I'll say that I was the only council member that voted against our current budget. I voted against it for several reasons. Number one, we found out last minute that we had a budget deficit. Part of that deficit was because for years on end, we were also operating and balancing a budget because of the vacancies. When we talk about police department as an example, for the first time in the last several decades, we now have a full staffing in our police department. On top of that, we ended up adding more. So what you ended up doing was, because you had so many vacancies in different departments, you were balancing your budget in that way. More so, during a deficit, I called for additional meetings and budget hearings for us to decide what exactly is it that we were going to cut, because the overviews that we were being provided were just very general. We did not get those that I requested. At the end of the day, whether it was my first item that I voted against when I got elected to the city council, when staff brought a $6 million contract that they had not vetted any additional cities and what they were paying, and I was the lone vote against them. I believe that we have an opportunity to generate revenue for our city and in being thoughtful on how we're spending our funds.
Thank you. Ms. Sarian, question is to you. Does Glendale have a spending or a revenue problem?
As someone who was affected by the bike lanes, I have a small shop on North Brand, and during those months, we didn't have any business going because nobody could access our business. Not only me, but our neighbors as well, up to the hotel, and we had to collect signatures to remove those bike lanes. Let me ask that question: was it a spending problem or not? I think it was a spending problem. So we don't consider our infrastructure, we don't consider business access, and we create these projects that are not considered what's the next step and how they're going to impact our community at large. And we're not asking our community for their opinion. During those months, maybe I saw 5 bikers on those lanes. I don't see many people biking in Glendale. They're afraid because lines are not continuous. They're stopping and going. So even as a bike, design is not properly designed. And I was talking with an avid biker. They said, you cannot ride bikes next to each other. It has to be one by one. So the whole project was a complete waste of money, and I would advocate for stopping waste of money in our city.
Thank you. Dr. Kalusian, same question to you. Does Glendale have a spending or a revenue problem?
I'd like to say both. We have a problem with just about everything, or I wouldn't be running, honestly. I have a great job. The budget increased from 800 million to 1.2 billion, like that of a small nation. And we still managed ourselves into a deficit. There's an efficiency problem in spending, for sure. Governments that cannot also generate revenue resort to taxing. So we've been talking about possible taxes. I think it's important that cities use what they have in excess. So we have Glendale water-rich mountains. We can capture that water instead of buying it and importing it in. We have 280 to 300 sunny days a year. Why are we just getting into the solar game? We need to bump that up and get some power there. And finally, we have a lot of traffic. We can use piezoelectric energy there. And so I believe we have both here, a spending and a revenue problem.
Thank you. Okay, and one more, this same question to Mr. Barshasoff. Does Glendale have a spending or a revenue problem?
I'm so glad to answer this question. The answer is both. I know that the city is undergoing budget reductions of up to 5% per department. I support that. It's the right thing to do. But we also need to look at new options for generating revenue because we want to maintain police and fire staffing and make sure that we are protected as a community. What I've heard from multiple candidates on this stage, we've heard this number before, 800 million to 1.2 billion dollars. Nobody here has said how they are going to reduce the budget by $400 million. It is not going to include, you're not going to be able to do that without cutting police and fire, and I am totally against that. That is not something that I stand for. So what I've been advocating for is that we have a participatory budgeting process. Our budget sessions are during the day when you and I are at work and not able to pay attention. And we need to open up the books and talk about how the money is coming in and how the money is being spent. And then collectively, we need to decide if we want to raise more revenue to maintain the services that we think are a priority, or look for ways to cut the revenue or cut the budget, and which services are we going to cut? Because ultimately, somebody is going to pay. And I'm not in a position as one of 5 council members to make that decision in a silo. We need to do it as a community.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, the next question is going to go to every candidate for 1 minute. The answer is going to be 1 minute for every candidate. I promise we're going to wrap up budget and debt and move on to other fun stuff. And we're going to start from that end this time. So this question is about the city budget. The city voted to increase sales taxes in 2018 by 0.75%, so just under 1%, going from 9.5% to the current 10.25% sales tax. It was meant to generate $30 million a year to support green initiatives, fund fire and police, pay for affordable housing and infrastructure. 8 years later, we're here having a budget deficit discussion of $30 million a year and are considering more taxes and fees. All of us here have to live within a budget. Why does it feel that the city government doesn't do the same? Ms. Sarian.
I'm against taxes. I'm against increasing more taxes because Glendale is already an expensive place to live. A lot of people cannot afford to live in our city. And adding more to it, it's gonna be detrimental to our small mom and pop shops. It's gonna be detrimental to our shopping. And Americana is a big part of our city's attraction. So by adding more taxes, you're gonna kind of like put a hindrance on people coming to Glendale, and that's gonna have trickling effect on everything else. And I think having fiscally responsible council members, it will prevent from constantly asking for tax increases. And that would be my position. No more increasing taxes.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Murphy?
I am also against increasing taxes. I will say that the budget in 2020 was the $840 million, went to $1.3 billion in 24. Mr. Brotman seems to think that that's because of pensions. Well, in 2020, we paid $73 million into CalPERS. In 2024, we paid $112.6 million. That's less than 10% of the increase, over $400 million. So it's not the CalPERS payments that's causing this problem. In 2020, Mr. Brotman was elected. He's here in 2026. All of this structural budget problem came on his watch. We need to stop the excessive spending. It's wasteful, especially with vanity projects like the Grand Boulevard bicycle lane.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Manatsakanyan, same question to you. All of us live with the budget. Why does it feel that the city government doesn't do the same?
First and most, the decision makers, the budgeting issue is about the bad decision. If the leaders, they don't know how to make a right decision, then the problem starts. That's one. Second, this is 21st century. Why we're going back? We need to go forward, and we need to think with using technology, using innovation. Some companies, they have already $3 trillion valuation, like NVIDIA. Why we're thinking to go back in 1960s? We should look forward because this city belongs to the young generation. So that means what we have to focus on, educate our children, our students, to come up with amazing ideas so we can revolutionize Glendale. That's what Glendale Forward stands for. It's one system, because right now what I know, this is what I said, if the system doesn't work for the people, we need to rebuild the system.
Thank you.
And so far, this is the reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Kalustian, same question to you.
Yes, so I have made a pledge to voters to oppose all new taxes. It already operates on a budget of $1.2 billion annually, and I answered right before that we need to be more efficient and responsible with our spending, and whether that means we need a accountant to look through and see how we're spending it. I want to hear that the audits are happening. I don't want to hear that they're not. And then improving revenue from what we're given. I don't believe we should let it shoot out the LA River. We should capture what we have in excess and maybe have some water security. Being high in wildfire risk, I think we should definitely think and use common sense and what's given to us and leverage that and not be in a deficit next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm against taxes, raising taxes and adding more taxes. I always say about, let's say about the vacancy tax. If we add a vacancy tax, is that gonna make comfortable for the owners? Is that gonna bring more revenue to the budget, or is that gonna bring more more crime to the city? Because most of the people are gonna try the ways how to get away with these taxes. To prevent the crime, we don't need to add these taxes. It's better to make Glendale more business friendly, so more businesses come and join Glendale, and they will rent these properties. Automatically, they are gonna bring more revenue. We don't need to add more taxes for it. So I'm against any new taxes or raising any taxes. We can be business friendly and we can have even more, bring more revenue to the budget without raising anything. And we need to cut the misspendings, which we can see a lot.
Thank you. Mr. Garbian, same question to you regarding living within our means.
So in 2018, we raised the revenue for $30 million. We raised the taxes. We're short 30 million today. So the problem is not the revenue. Revenue is coming. We did it in 2018. That means the spending is the problem. So by raising taxes again for more revenue, we'll be short again. We have to stop spending and be wise about it. They have to be accountable how you spend the money. Families, they're short, they're tight in their spending. Why can't the government do the same thing? There's no difference. Times are tough, you stop spending.
Mr. Brahman, the question is to you.
Yeah.
Sorry, we couldn't spend money on signs.
Yeah, I would encourage everybody on this dais here to look at the report of the Blue Ribbon Commission that we empowered a few years ago. The problem we have is a pension problem. Promises were made 25 years ago, and they're coming home to roost. The courts have ruled there's nothing we can do. It's a property right. So we're going to have to deal with this. This is why we're having the budget problems that we're having. Now, people are also very confused about the difference between the general fund budget, which is where we have the deficit, and the big budget, which includes our enterprise, Glendale Water and Power. The reason we went to 1.2 billion is because we made a huge investment in Glendale Water and Power. It's like if you buy a home and you have all this debt and somebody says, oh, your budget went up. Yeah, your budget went up, but you have a house. Our budget went up, but now we have a modern utility. So really what we're talking about, let's set that aside and let's talk about the general fund budget. Yes, we brought in $30 million from Measure S, but the general fund budget is being hit by increasing pensions, and we're going to have to deal with that reality.
Thank you. And just, Mr. Brotman brings up a very, very good point, and I'll just add some more color to that. Glendale's bonded debt has grown from $37 million in 2000 to $630 million today. That's bonded debt, revenue backed. And we have potential future debt obligations of about $700 million that we're contemplating for our water infrastructure that is going to need to be bonded as well in the near future. Obviously, that'll take decades to probably build out, but that's debt that's hanging out there. So those are all going to impact utility rates, and that may influence this discussion here. So let's move on. Keep going, Ms. Brooks. We have to live within a budget. Why does it feel that the city government isn't?
Well,
The microphone.
I will say there are 12 candidates here, and 3 of us have been going to, except for the 2, obviously, who are on the dais, who are council members already, 3 of us have been going to council meetings for at least 2 years. I've been going for almost 2 years. And I could tell you there are 2 things going on. One is absolutely a spending problem. They rubber stamp everything they're given basically from the city manager. Just a few weeks ago, there was a contract for $3.4 million for ADA curb ramps, and they were giving a 20% overage just in case they found something in the sidewalks. Who gives a 20% extra? It was almost $700,000 extra just in case they found something. And I actually brought that up in front of council, and it was like, well, you know, this is just the way things are happening. I am telling you, nickels and dimes count. They are not controlling how they're spending. They are rubber stamping almost everything. They are out of control. It is absolutely reckless spending. And I say that from experience going to almost every single council meeting for almost 2 years. This is true about pension liabilities, unfunded pension liabilities. It's absolutely, they have no control. I have firsthand experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bartusoff.
Yes,
Should I repeat that?
sure.
Okay. All of us have to live within a budget. Why does it feel that city government doesn't?
Yeah, you know, you're not going to learn much about a budget by just watching meetings. I am a transportation planner, and I've been doing project delivery for almost a decade. 15 to 20% contingency is a standard practice when you're budgeting a project, first of all. Second of all, I did already talk about participatory budgeting. I think we need to be open and clear about where the money's coming from and how it's being spent. And that's something that I want to adopt and look into implementing as soon as I'm elected on city council. I also think it's worth noting that we still have not heard from the folks who say that we have a spending problem on which specific ways they're going to cut police, fire, the operating hours of libraries and parks, and maintaining those facilities and assets for our city.
Thank you. Mr. Belekian.
So lucky for you, Mr. Bartusoff.
Sorry.
Sorry, can I answer?
Yes, please.
Okay, lucky for you, Mr. Bartusoff, my job is I manage 2 physician groups and I staff a hospital, the intensive care unit and the general floor. So it is my responsibility to make sure that doctors show up to work, are working and seeing the patients that they should. And if they are not there and I have to work somebody overtime, I pay for that out of my budget. If somebody doesn't show up to work, you know who goes to work in their place? I do. So the biggest problem that we have in all of these budgets is overtime. So this is not a personnel issue. This is you inappropriately and inefficiently deploying your workforce. So my question is, the chief of police, can he step in when one of the deputies calls in sick? Or are you going to have somebody else work overtime and get paid more? Can the motorcycle cops be swapped out for the car cops or vice versa? Can you get some of the older cops to be working as dispatchers? So what you need to do is make sure that your individual personnel have versatility so that they can fill in for one another. That is what a small business owner like me, who knows how to run a business efficiently, can do. And that is what I will do without cutting personnel, without compromising our safety.
Thank you. Mrs. Sawtrey.
During the last budget session, I asked for 3 buckets: must have, need to have, would be nice to have. And Ms. Brooks, if I remember correctly, you came up and you said, I love you. I want to just come up there and kiss you for what you're saying.
She's right.
Everything requires 3 votes. Again, I do think that we have an obligation to really look into our budget and not just approve what the overview is being provided to us. We did just hire recently a new finance director, which I have confidence in. I will also say that there was a vacancy in our finance department for quite some time. And so when you have somebody that doesn't have finance background overseeing a $1.2 billion budget, there's a serious issue there. I will also say, because the initial candidates had noted, my record on taxes is clear. I not only voted against them, I fought against them. And a vacancy tax, something that I want to explore, has nothing to do with taxing residents. It has everything to do with looking at taxing landlords.
Thank you. Mr. Agajanian. All of us have to live within a budget. Why does it feel that the city doesn't live within a budget?
I just want to go back, give you a history about 2018. In 2018, I was the only one, nobody was part of the dice. I was a council member at the time, and they came up with this idea to raise the taxes in the city of Glendale by 0.75%. It means 0.75%. So what would bring $30 million? I was totally against this, raising this tax at the time. But they came up with the idea that this would help the resident housing system, will be more housing, the regulation, this, that. They came up with the idea and convinced me. After a while, I realized they raised some money for this group, the employee of city, fire, this, that. Everybody was getting portion of that money. It means it didn't serve the purpose they came up with, because this city spends, and I was forcing, let's first cut the expenses. Then you can raise the taxes. Not to raise the taxes, and then everybody comes in, the employee of City of Glendale, they ask portion of that
Okay,
pie.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Okay, we're gonna go easy now. Yes, no, or short answer. Let's start again from that side. Ms. Sarian. Has your campaign taken money or been endorsed by public employees? If so, please tell us who.
No.
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 Oh, sorry.
I am proud to have been endorsed by police and fire. Everybody else here applied and was turned down.
No, but I hope your next question is if we took money from developers.
I'm proudly endorsed by the Glendale Teachers Union.
No.
I was the only candidate that received the sole early endorsement of police and fire, and I have not taken money from them.
I did not get the endorsement of police or fire. Even I was the mayor and council member, I didn't get their approval. So don't worry about me, I didn't get any money.
Okay, so just for the this is just for the record. There is no nothing to worry about. Okay. Another quick question. We'll start from here, going that way. Up until today, how long have you consistently domiciled in Glendale and been a registered voter here?
I'm sorry, again,
How long have you domiciled here and been a registered voter?
I was living in here for 46 years, and I have been registered voter for, it's so long that maybe over 30 years, I don't know how long.
Estimates are fine. Estimates are fine, yeah. We're just trying to see how long you've been around, that's all.
My family and I moved to Glendale from Armenia when I was 10 years old in 1992. I have always lived in Glendale ever since. I also registered to vote when we became a citizen. I believe it was in around 2007.
Thank you.
Lived
We're on
here,
a budget. Sorry.
born and raised, lived here 47 years, registered 35 years.
I lived in Glendale my whole life, with the exception of going away for school and being out for 1 year. I've been a registered voter my entire adult life.
I've been here more than 30 years. I'm trying to think because my daughter's going to be 29. So I think it's around 31 and 32. And you can tell from my accent, I'm originally from New York. But I'm registered to vote here in Glendale.
I've been a registered voter and have never missed an election since I was 18. And unlike many of the people here, I've lived in many different cities in this country and around the world. I've lived in Glendale since 2015.
I'm a Glendale resident for the last 43 years. I went to Hoover High School, raising my kids in Glendale, and I've been a voter citizen since I could be. I don't know how many years ago was that. Thanks.
I have been moved to Glendale 8.5 years ago and been registered voter here for the past 4 years when I became a citizen.
I moved to Glendale from Hollywood because I love Glendale 15 years ago, and I've been voting since, yeah.
I lived in Glendale about a year, and I've been registered voter, and I love Glendale, and I'm here right now. Thank you.
I arrived in Burbank in 1985 from New York City. I met my wife in 2012, who has lived in Glendale since 1984. When I proposed to her, she said, yes, but we have to live in Glendale. So I've been in Glendale since 2020. I've been a registered voter since I'm 18 years old.
Thank you.
I moved to Glendale in 1997, and Glendale is my home. I started voting as soon as I was able, and I became a citizen. And I just want to say, for a short period of time, I lived in a desert area, and I've seen there's plenty of space to develop, so there is no reason for state to mandate on us this huge overdevelopment projects.
Thank you.
So-
Okay. Okay, now we're going to get into housing affordability. This question is going to go to a select number of candidates, and we're going to have a timer for 1 minute. Housing affordability. Glendale has the same population today as 25 years ago. Why were homes and apartments 25 or even just 10 years ago affordable and now they're not? Is it inflation? Is it wage growth? What exactly is the cause? And what can city government do to make housing affordable again? First, this goes to Ms. Brooks.
Okay.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Well, look, this is a problem that, that the world has, basically, that the entire nation has, and it's a very difficult problem. I believe that, I'm a renter. I'm the only renter here. I know that some people feel that if I'm a renter that I'm against landlords, but I don't believe that you help one group by punishing another group. I don't think that's a moral way to behave. I would like to help the most vulnerable among us. I think that we need to give direct rental assistance by actually revamping the Section 8 program, because there are people who need that, and it's been closed since 2001. So I think there's a lot of fraud there, and I think people have to be taken off of that program, and you have to put people who actually deserve to be on that program. As far as affordable housing, I think that the rate of inflation, the cost of building materials, everything is very, very expensive. It's not the same world. You can't say that you can have affordable housing and imagine, oh, okay.
Thank you. Trying to run a tight ship here. Okay.
Yes.
Next, Mr. Murphy. What caused housing to become unaffordable, and what can city government do to make it affordable again?
We've all heard the expression, time is money. One of the issues associated with getting entitlements in the city of Glendale is it takes a tremendous amount of time. Used to be that you could get a pool permit over the counter. Now it takes you 6 months to procure a pool permit. What I would do is I would streamline all the processes to make sure that we're paying attention to getting things done quickly. In addition, I would recommend a top-to-bottom review of all development fees.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Garibian, what caused housing to become unaffordable, and what can the city do to make it affordable again?
Thanks. For two things. First, the finance questions you asked. 34 years in the finance background, so I can bring 2 cents to the finance of the city. At the same time, very common sense logic, supply and demand. Obviously, we don't have enough. That pushes everything up. Whether it's housing or it's an apple, doesn't matter. You have less of it, demand is there, the cost pushes up. But that's one of the aspects. The other aspect, obviously, we have labor cost, construction cost, and land cost. So everything is up. So for a developer to finish a project costs a lot more. But unfortunately, the incomes, the wages did not go up. Mr. Bingham mentioned earlier, we have 54% increase in nationwide in expenses. Wages barely moved up. So we need to be able to bring more affordable housing, more housing, period. But dense housing is not housing. That's just apartment buildings, like, small places you put transitory people. But we need to be able to help the developers to develop more, to make it easier for them, cheaper for them, so we can pass it down to newly formation housing.
Thank you, Mr. Nurdin. Mr. Manatakanian, same question to you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you for the question. First, I agree that the process of giving permit has to be more fixed. I have a strong IT background and I know how to negotiate. We do need to negotiate with Sacramento the current laws we have and current threats we're receiving from the Sacramento. But besides that, there's one more major issue that we have and nobody's talking about that. So whoever the candidate you choose to work here and talk here, give a beautiful speeches and so on and on, the bottom line is this. When there's 5 people selected in the city hall, if one person suggests some good idea and 4 of the people, they don't agree with that, that idea stays where? In a shelf. So because of that, all the stuff, everything we're talking about here, it makes no sense, and it's like just like on a speech on the air, because the first thing is people have to demand every single decision. They have to be aware of what's going on and more transparent government system. Because of that, everything is possible to fix it. Only if you guys are involved in it. Thank you.
Mr. Gregorian, same question to you. What has caused housing to become unaffordable, and what can city government do to make it affordable again?
So as the statistics shows, back in 1970s, in California, we were building 300,000 housing units per year. Right now, it came down to 110,000. So at the first, we started to build even less right now, and that's why it grows. The second thing here, Mr. Garibian, who was in the real estate, he can prove that as well, that during these 3 years that they are going through the permitting process, if they want to rebuild a house, during these 3 years, for 1 million house, that if they buy a 1 million house and they want to rebuild, they are paying over $300,000 just the mortgage percent interest, and all around they are spending over $300,000 until they start the construction. So these 3 years, the permitting process years, are bringing the prices of the housing by $300,000, $400,000 overpriced. So if we cut the permitting process, we will cut the prices of the housing as well.
Thank you. And just a fun fact for the audience, California's population, or LA County's population, grew basically from the 1950s until about the year 2000. And then for a period of 20 years, it was relatively flat, kind of went up and down. And since 2020 up until today, LA County has been going down in population. And Glendale is the same. We're losing population just like LA County is. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Where do we want to go?
Do I get to answer that?
You can answer, Mr. Brahman. You weren't on the list, but please, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to answer that because if you talk to any housing economist, you will get the same answer. If you talk to people in housing finance, you'll get the same answer. It's supply and demand. We have been a job magnet, and this is not just a Glendale issue. This is a regional issue. This is a national issue. This is a global issue. Cities are gaining population. The whole country is urbanizing. The jobs are being created in the cities, and we have not been building the housing commensurate with the increase in job creation. And that's the fundamental reason. Now, the solution is to build many different types of housing. I'm not just about building big apartment buildings downtown. I want to see more townhouses, mid-scale type housing, and I definitely want to see us figure out how we can build more ownership housing, small units, townhouses, and condos that young people can have the opportunity to own their own place.
Yeah, so I'm gonna open this up to everybody, just to be fair. And then just one point, if you could put a finer point on that, Mr. Brotman. You said the city's populations are going up. Our population has gone down over the last 25 years. Do you want to clarify
But
that
it's a
point?
region, this is a regional and national issue.
But LA County has lost population, or
Well, there's a debate about that too, and there's a debate about Glendale too, because we have a lot of immigrants. The census data is not accurate.
okay, getting a little spicy. Mr. Garibian, please.
Just, yes, population is not the issue. People are not moving that they used to move. People usually get in an older age retirement, they will sell their home, they will move up to more retirement locations, whether Florida or Palm Springs or things in that matter. Now they're not moving for multiple reasons. One, their rates are extremely low, 2-3% because of COVID days. They got low interest rates. So if they do sell, additionally, because of technology, they can FaceTime their family and family members from where they are. They don't really need to move to a location to have retirements. So it is more than just the population numbers. They're not moving, so those homes that they need to sell for newlyweds or newly formation come and buy those homes are not available.
I'm going to go to Mr. Agajanian because he raised his hand. Please.
I just want to go back to something that as I said, I'm professional engineer. I was project engineer for San Diego Medical Naval Center, the largest hospital in the world. So I'm familiar with this. Our problem is that when the person in Glendale, person buys the property, you buy this property, you have to wait until to see which property you will buy. One is wide, one is tiny. So your drawings should be based on what kind of property you have. So I have to wait to buy the land after the escrow closes. Then I go to a project engineer or a consulting engineer like me, and you want to say, I want 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom, or whatever you ask.
Thank you.
The problem, 1 second, I would say.
Yeah.
One, tiny.
Please.
If you let me.
10 seconds.
Yeah. What happens, then you have to go to the city for the, all those licenses or permission you have to get. So this person pays for months and months and months. That's why streamlining the project is the solution for those who will come to build a house for their family.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Just to circle it back, we're going to open it up to those who haven't answered. I promise we'll get to you. What caused housing to become unaffordable, and what can city government do to make it affordable again? Let's go first to Mrs. Sarian.
A couple of things. So it's a complex reason. It's not only housing. It's utilities costs that are skyrocketing. Even if you have solar, still the price is very high. And also, we talked about increasing taxes. Glendale already has high sales tax. Another thing is that's part of having a low affordability in Glendale. Another thing, going to the how to solve it, we had a first-time buyers assistance for first-time house buyers. We can make it larger. We can have, as previously was said, Section 8 resuscitate that program, and subsidizing for service employees such as firefighters and policemen. I think first we need to look at our issues and solve our infrastructural issues before getting larger. And there was an idea floating about there's like more jobs being created. We had that huge company, Nestle, that left our city. So I don't see a lot of jobs being created in Glendale. So a lot of people work remotely.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Murphy, your turn.
The state of California has approximately 15 million housing units. There's just over 1 million of those that are vacant. In the city of Glendale, I did a little anecdotal work, and the Onyx on Central was completed in 2017, 172 units, 35 vacant units. The Onyx on Orange, 300 plus units, 30 plus vacant. We don't have a shortage problem. We have an affordability problem. That is the issue. One other item. Going back to the budget discussion where Mr. Brotman said that we're rebuilding Grayson and that's hitting our budget. Just so you folks know, Glendale Water and Power is a net positive revenue generator. We put $30 million into the general fund from GWP this year or last year. It was one of the years, and I think it's happening regularly. In addition, the Grayson bonds weren't issued until after 2024, where our budget ballooned to $1.3 billion. So it's not a Grayson issue, it's not a GWP issue. It's a spending problem.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Thank you. Okay, anybody else who did not get a chance? Okay, Mrs. Satran?
It's between construction and people's wages as a starter. I'm the only council member that lives in a multifamily. I bought my condo at the fall of the market in 2011 on a first-time homebuyers program. And I will say that I know that had I not purchased it at that time with that program, very similar to almost everybody that I've gone to high school with at Hoover High School, I'd be living in the valley right now and not be able to be your council member. So I think I put forth for us to look at first-time homebuyers program. I've championed for us to bring back and gotten the votes for us to restart the assistance programs for renters. I'll also note that 3.5 years ago, I was the one that called for an overhaul for our streamlining of our permitting. And for the last 3.5 years, efficient systems and economic development have been two of our 4 priority areas because it's what I've led with, what I promised, and what I've been fighting for every Tuesday.
Thank you. Thank you. Why don't we go with Mr. Botchersoff and, okay, Belekian, Dr. Belekian. Why don't you go first, Dr. Belekian, and then Mr. Botchersoff, you can go.
Okay, so the houses here are expensive because Glendale is a desirable place to live. A lot of people want to be here. This place is desirable. That's why it's expensive. The problem is we don't have middle-tier housing. So I calculated a household that makes $150,000 a year, so 2 incomes, $75,000 each. To buy a 1-bedroom condo, you can easily, with your debt-to-income ratio, qualify. With the current interest rates and 20% down, you can buy a condo for $450,000. How many of those buildings do we have on Redfin right now in city limits? 6. So we are building the wrong kinds of buildings. We are building shoeboxes that propagate rentership at the expense of middle-tier condos that will further ownership. And Mr. Brotman, who says, oh, I want to have new of these condos built. Sir, you've been on council for 6 years. What have you been waiting for? Now this is a problem? And also what I would say is it is a very lucrative business. It is a very lucrative business to build these large megaplexes that propagate renters for decades. The developers make a lot of money. So yes, I would like to second Ms. Brooks's question of who on this dais has accepted contributions from those developers.
Thank you. So anybody can answer that question when it's your time. Feel free. Please, Mr. Botchersoff.
So I'm more on the younger side from folks on this dais. I just turned 40. And people in my generation are really screwed in this community. We do not have access to homes that are affordable for our cohort and folks that are younger. So what I'm finding and what I've experienced and what I'm hearing from people who went to high school with me, who grew up here, when it's time for them to move from a rental unit to buying a home, they look elsewhere. These are folks who are buying homes in Sylmar, Northridge, Palmdale, Santa Clarita. And what are they doing? They're driving into our communities where the jobs are and causing congestion and taking up parking spots that you otherwise could have used. So we need to identify that as a problem. People in my generation need to have access to more entry-level housing, which includes condos and townhouses, because the ones that we have currently, they are getting dated, they're not as attractive, and they're not appealing to folks who are starting families.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, Dr. Coos, did you have something to add, Mrs. Satran?
If I can just clarify on the condo item, because I live in the 1970s building on Columbus and Stalker. Number one, anybody that talks about building more condos, unless we are creating special incentive programs, there's a state law, it's not black and white, there's a state law that is prohibiting developers from actually building condos. There's a law that requires and allows any tenant in a condo that is built for 10 years, they can sit in that condo and then 10 years later end up suing the developer for that unit, which has made developers not want to make that investment. And so unless, for the last 2 years, as a city council, and I've been in Sacramento fighting for this as well, this has been something that we've been fighting for in Glendale to change, because if you don't change that law in Sacramento, we are going to continue to have that problem no matter what anybody promises up here.
Okay. Dr. Kalustian, and then one more point. Yes.
Yeah, so I just want to focus on solutions, and I agree that we do need more supply of condominiums and that it's challenging. LA City was able to pass the LA Adaptive Reuse Ordinance that converts commercial to residential condominiums. And I believe in providing an opportunity to build equity. That's how I was able to eventually buy a home. So I agree with that. And I think there are, might be challenging, but it's possible.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Mr. Grubian has one really quick thing to say, so we'll let him say it, and then we'll move on.
Yes, just quickly on that rule, yes, Mr. Saturian is correct, but that law has been around for 30 years. It didn't stop the developers from developing, nothing new. At the same time, those developers are developing other cities but Glendale. So the same rule applies everywhere. How come they're not in Glendale? So it is not the rule that really stops the developers. We are building apartments, same concept of construction. They're just not selling it for different reasons.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on. Thank you. Next question is about our Grayson utility repowering project. So some Glendale residents claim that the City Council's 2022 approval of the scaled down Grayson repowering project, which reduced generation capacity from the original 262 megawatts to about 54 megawatts with operating caps, is contributing to higher electricity rates. Did the city make the right decision back in 2022? And what can really be done to lower electricity rates? So the first question will be to Mr. Grubian. The first answer, Mr. Grubian.
First things first, the expense went up. That project came on the table years before. And it took the council years until they approved it, so the cost went up tremendously. At the same time, the number of generators we had to build, they reduced that number as well. So we produced less. The cost went up, so whether we like it or not, they passed it down to the consumers. How are we going to do that? We need to generate more. We can do solar. We can have 50 megawatt here, 20 megawatt there. We can keep adding to it by alternative energy. And we have the land to do so. So we can do that to save it and bring down the utility costs.
Thank you. Mr. Brotman, don't worry, this was coming to you. Did the city make the right decision back in 2022, and what can be done about rising electricity rates?
The city made the right decision. It was a decision that was actually made in 2018 initially to shelve the original project, which was all fossil fuel, and to move towards a new project, which is based around battery technology, solar, and a smaller number of gas generators. All you need to do is look at the Glendale Water and Power 2019 Integrated Resource Plan, which they put out after they proposed the new scaled down green solution. And if you go to page 13, I encourage everybody to look at that. They explain that the new project is $174 million cheaper and saves Glendale residents 20% off the cost of the original project. So had we done the original project, it would have cost more. It's not about being green. It's about prior councils kicking the can down the road, not investing in our utility for a generation. We picked that can up. We're investing in Grayson. We're investing in a modern utility, and that's going to serve the people of Glendale very well over many, many years.
But what can be done about rising utility rates? Is there anything that could be done about that? That was the second part of the question.
You're going to hear false promises from people about cutting utility rates. They make no sense. They don't even understand them themselves. The thing that we can do is we can make sure that going forward, utility rates do not increase more than the rate of inflation. And we can do that through electrification. We bring on more electric revenues into the system through EV charging and through building electrification. We bring it on at times of the day and year when it's abundant and cheap to deliver that power. We don't have a power shortage, as Mr. Belekian thinks. We have plenty of power, we just don't have it at the right times of the day and year. So if we bring on electricity when we have it in abundant supply and it's cheap, we generate more revenue in GWP, and that allows us to keep rates stable.
Thank you. Okay. Just to put a finer point on the details, 2017 plan, 2018 council said to come up with a revised plan. They spent about 4 years debating the revised plan, and it was approved in 2022. So that's the details. Next, Mr. Murphy, same question to you.
In 2022, there was a plan. Let me back up. Grayson was one of the top 5 polluters in the state of California. In 2022, GWP had a plan to put together 5 Wärtsilä engines. The state of California said you can run those at 100% capacity. They were so pleased that Grayson was getting repowered. I'm not suggesting 100% on 5 engines. Mr. Brotman took those 5 engines down to 3 and put a 14% cap on it. While he was convincing his council colleagues to do that, took a while, interest rates doubled on the bonds, and the price of the project went way up. In 2022, 5 engines, $493 million. Today, what's going on, 3 engines, $600 million. I have been working for the last 8 months with power professionals who have spent over 3 decades locally working in power generation. So who are you going to believe? A politician or a power professional with over 3 decades of experience?
Okay, thank you. Next, the same question goes to Dr. Kalustian. Dr. Kalustian, the question is to you. Did the city make the right decision to go with this plan, and what can be done about our rising electricity rates?
So currently, Glendale's main power sources are from out of state. Grayson's only a peaker plant and still relies on open combustion, being phased now into modern replacement. The critical infrastructure was not modernized, kicked down the can is what sort of they're saying, when it should have been. We fell short. We need to plan ahead, not play catch up. We need to expand battery storage so we have it when we need it, integrate renewable sources, and use microgrid investment. Thank you.
Thank you. So one thing about the plant, it does have about 75 megawatts of battery storage, if I'm not mistaken, and that is some new technology. So, Mr. Belekian, the same question is to you. Did the city make the right decision, and what can be done about rising electricity rates?
The city did not make the right decision. I'm not going to belabor you with points that you can find when you go to votedralex.com/GWP. I'm going to speak to that feeling inside you that you get when you open up that power bill every other month and you look at it and you're like, I've not been using any energy. How could this happen? That is what I'm speaking to right now. So I've been called unknowledgeable. It's been said that I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, if this is the situation that the people who knew what they were talking about got us into, isn't it time to hit a hard reset? All of these incumbents that have been here, some for 4 years, some for 6 years, are you better off than you were? I can tell you that the sky is green until the cows come home. He says you're saving $175 million. When you look at your bill, does it feel like you're saving $175 million? That is what I am talking to, that feeling you get. Enough, no more excuses, no more incumbents.
Okay, thank you. Okay, okay, what the heck? Whoever hasn't answered, you can answer too. Mrs. Sari.
It's just a quick comment.
Only if you haven't answered, so please.
Quick comment about cutting utility rates. How are we going to do that if that's the major contributor to city's budget? How are we going to have the city's budget, which is already a deficit?
Okay, anybody else before we're moving on who has not answered? Okay, Ms. Asatrian and Mr. Agajanian. Ms. Asatrian, please, you first.
So I'll say there's a couple of things here. Number one, the way that our incentive programs are built out is something that I've had an issue with, and I think we've made some adjustments in the last period, but just very much so like the permitting process that we're talking about for homes or for small businesses, when you look at our public benefit programs, there's been a lot of money just sitting there with programs that are offering residents $50, for example, to turn in their refrigerator to be able to get a new one. $50 is not going to get anybody to turn in their refrigerator and then get a new one because of how much the new one costs. It's two things, whether it was most recently when we moved to pass the heat pumps, requiring that as part of the permitting process for anything, residents have the ability to access those programs early on, because if you don't actually access them when you're attempting to make that change, you are actually leaving out a very significant portion of the population. Not everybody has $20,000, and most people don't have $20,000 sitting in their bank account that they can make that investment and then be able to reap the benefits.
Thank you.
So, oh, thank you. Thanks.
And just for everyone's benefit, what Mrs. Satrian was referring to is a recent ordinance which is going to require that if you need to replace your furnace, you need to go to what's called a heat pump, and that is electric. It's based on using electricity and no gas. So that's what she was referring to. And the city has a rebate program for those who are going to be transitioning.
Not furnace, air conditioning.
Well, the air conditioning, but also for if you're heating your home.
So the heat pump works for heat and air.
If you're replacing your air conditioning system, you replace it with a heat pump. You can keep your furnace.
But I don't think that would even happen.
Well, you don't have to. You don't need to.
Well, yeah.
But it's not when your furnace goes out that you need to replace it. I'm just correcting you. It's when your air conditioner goes out that you would replace it with a two-way heat pump. So you don't need to replace your furnace when that goes out later.
Unless you insulate your attic. Tell them the truth.
So.
You changed your home. If you are going to
No, he didn't. That's
Okay.
a lie.
All right. So suffice it to say, go research it on your own, and don't listen to whatever they're saying. Go figure it out yourself. Okay. Yeah, and there are some great programs. I think it'll run for a year. You can get some rebates, but as someone who knows a little bit about HVAC, if your furnace goes out or your AC goes out, you're changing the whole thing or you're replacing it. So, Mr. Agajanian.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 2018, we had diesel turbines in Grayson. So we came up with the idea this is polluting the air, so we wanted to change it to solar and, this solar panels and other clean energy. So we came up with the idea that that's what we want to do, and we tried to do it. But in July and August, we would have blackout. It would not, if we would make all based on clean energy, would cost over $1 billion. So July and August is a special. So we came up with these 5 gas units, Wärtsilä gas units from Finland. And it would cost $460 million for that 5 machine. Mr. Brotman, it was the election time. He went against it and stopped it. Basically, I wish Paula Divan would be here. She could confirm what I'm saying. So what happened? Cleverly, after the election, he came up with 3 gas units. If they would put 5, would be $850 million rather than 450. So what they do, people would get
Mr.
mad,
Agajanian,
angry.
Thank you. Sorry, your time is up. Thank you. Sorry. I hate doing this. It's tough, but okay. So let's go some yes nos. Easy-ish. So the land use element, the draft land use element, has a component in it called the CORO, which is the city-owned residential overlay, which would allow for high-density housing to be built on city-owned parking lots here in this neighborhood, behind St. Gregory's Church, here in this parking lot, and up in Montrose. Do you support removing the CORO from the land use element? Yes or no? We'll start in the middle this time. We'll do it funky. Mr. Brahman, we'll start with you and go that way.
removing CORO.
So removing the CORO from the land use element.
Yeah, there's CORO, SLA, these are all very confusing to people. The question is, do we want to do something with the parking lots to make them more valuable, more of an amenity to the community? And I'm for that.
Okay. So just to add some color, the CORO is a land use designation. SLA stands for Surplus Land Act. The Surplus Land Act is basically a law that says if a city wants to dispose of any land, either for sale or for long-term lease, they need to make it first available to the state so that they can publish it and then have affordable housing be a component of any development. But this question is specifically to the land use element. The land use element allowing high-density housing to be built. Right now, these lots are zoned as special recreation. They're meant for open space. That is the current designation. And so I want to keep the answers focused on the land use element, so that the land use element, do you support the CORO, yes or no, Mr.
Well, it's
Gruby?
going through a CEQA process. When it comes back to us, we'll make a decision.
I think you've answered already, Mr. Rowell.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Grubian, yes or no?
Definitely not for dense housing, so definitely not.
Okay.
If it will provide more parking space, free parking space, I will support that.
Okay.
Let me be clear, no more high-density housing, period.
Residents needs parking, business owners needs parking, and that space I support to have it free. No more density houses.
The CORO should absolutely be removed from the land use element. The incumbents want to wait for the environmental review to be complete. That's like studying for a test that you're never going to take.
Okay. Let's try to keep them yes, no, please. Or as short as
No.
possible. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Brooks, starting with you, Ms. Brooks, going this way. Should we remove the CORO or should it stay in the land use element?
Oh, absolutely. The parking stays exactly where it is and doesn't turn into housing.
I do not support high-density housing on these lots.
Oh, okay. Mr. Belekian.
Keep your damn hands off the parking lots.
Okay. Mrs. Satria.
I think we need to look at all the opportunities that are available for those parking lots, including other community benefits. I'm not for dense housing on those lots, but I am for looking at other opportunities that are available for our community, including one of the things that I had brought forth was an ice skating
Oh,
rink.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay, Mr. Agajanian.
I'm not in favor of it to remove parking. I'm not in favor of it because we have a problem. But we can make affordable housing on top of it. But this is an issue.
So do you, okay, all right, that's good enough. Thank you, all right. Let's move on to another question. At Tuesday's council meeting, this is just this last Tuesday, the city council salaries were discussed. Council has the power to raise its own salaries. I don't know if anybody knows that, but it does. But hasn't done so since 2013. So council salaries have not been raised since 2013. In fact, I don't believe it's actually been put on the agenda since 2013. So we're going to start with going to the sitting council folks and then move on to candidates. Mrs. Satran, you've taken the position that council salaries need to be increased and that the current system lacks equity. Why is the current system unfair, as you claim, and why haven't you or other councils since 2013 done anything about it?
The city council, since I've been elected, has looking at having it be on the ballot for the voters to decide. I do think it's an equity issue. That is why you've had a lot of times either individuals that are retired, individuals that have the flexibility of their second job or a second income at home to be able to come and serve on the city council. I will also say, for my own experience, I not only let go of all the contracts that I have been eating away at my savings in my early 40s to be able to serve my community. That leaves out a huge population, a younger population, to be able to serve on the city council and have diversity. Many of you, I think, know that this is a part-time position, but our city has grown from its inception of 13,000 residents to almost 200,000, but you have a system that still operates the same. And so if you want a more responsive government, I also think that it's required for us to make sure that the future generations on that dais properly represent the diversity of our constituents.
Okay. But if I could just ask you a follow-up. So I've looked into this pretty deeply with the Charter Review Committee. But the council has the ability right now, and it's enshrined in our charter. The council has the ability to raise their salaries. And in fact, the last time it was done was in 2013. And it does not have to go to the voters. What you're referring to is a charter amendment. But that's not what I'm asking about.
So on Tuesday, we also said we're happy to look at it during the budget session and have that conversation during that time. I will say that as it pertains to me, I feel extremely uncomfortable and would have to vote on something that would not benefit me or any sitting council member that is voting for a salary, for their own salary increases.
Okay.
So we would have to come up with a system that it is the new council members that are coming in, because, you know, for many of you that don't know, we're making, I think, about $28,000 as the base salary to serve on the city council. And so do the math. In addition to the $28,000 and some, we're getting health insurance, but that's where that journey ends with a couple of other stipends that we have. So just think about what that means for the representation you end up having on the council, and the kind of people that you end up having that are either retired or have the ability to be free to be at events, that are free to be at budget sessions in the afternoon, and so much more that this job requires.
So for the benefit of the other candidates or whoever's going to answer this question, the way salaries are governed in our city is that they fall under the government code of the state of California. And the government code allows cities to raise their salaries by 5% a year. And our council has just not done it. And more importantly, the government code requires that that increase does not affect the people who are sitting there. So that protection is already enshrined in the government code. So it just appears to me that no one has actually wanted to talk about it, and that's really why it hasn't happened. And I will ask, I've noticed a couple candidates texting from up here. I think it's appropriate to just not text. If you want to refer to notes, that's fine, but probably no one should be texting. Thank you. So next question, Mr. Brotman, to you. Why haven't salaries been raised when you have the power to raise them?
Yeah, and I was texting because I have a thing right after 4 o'clock and we're running late.
I didn't call you out. I said everyone. So.
No, but I'm just explaining that we're running late and I have another event. So,
Okay, everyone, please.
Okay,
Mr. Brotman, thank you.
Yes, so, I've been very lucky in life, and I've been able to do this with the very small salary that is provided, but this is an equity issue. What it does is it makes it very difficult for people in the prime of their working life to serve on city council. So I think we should raise the council salaries. Now, why haven't we done it ourselves? It's very uncomfortable for us to say we want to increase our own salaries. I would like to take it to the voters. That's what I've always thought. The ideal thing would be to go to the voters, explain the problem, and say we should have 80% of the area median income, so that's less than the median income for the Los Angeles area, 80% of median income for council members. When you're a mayor for that year, 100% of the area median income. I would like the voters to weigh in on that. I don't really like the idea of us raising our own salary.
So again, just to restate, you do not have the ability to raise your own personal salary. You have the ability to raise the salary of the position.
Right.
And it would come into effect after.
Right, but you're running again, and it might come into effect
you may not be
while you're
running
on
again.
council. It may not, but I think it's better for it to go to the voters.
Okay. Mr. Garibian, same question to you.
We're just discussing expenses and revenue. Now we're discussing raising salaries. So which one is it? So definitely, I understand the points that Ms. Asatirian made for the younger generation, all that. But let me tell you one thing about me. I'm not running for a job. I'm here to serve. I'm running to serve the community. And that doesn't come with a salary. I'm here to serve. So we're not discussing raising salary.
Okay.
With all due respect, that is an absolute luxury for someone to have.
Okay. Ms. Brooks, same question to you.
Yeah,
Should the salary be raised, and why do you think the council, which has had the power to do it for the last 13 years, has not done it?
Thank you. You know, I've been to the charter meetings, quite a number of times where this was discussed. There are two issues. The first one that you're saying, I think they don't want to bring up the issue because it would shine a light on them. Because if you're discussing raising salaries, even though it's not going to you, you're bringing the issue out into the public. And then you're bringing your performance out into the public. I mean, actually, if you had looked at the performance of the incumbents, they should not be sitting here anyway. So I think that you are actually shining a light on people, and they don't want to bring that light onto themselves, even though you're talking about, future council members. And Ellen is absolutely right. I'm very happy for Mr. Garibian that he's independently wealthy. I'm not. I live on a fixed income, and I think it should be open to regular people because you know what? I'll tell you why. Because you have a different sense of urgency. When you're extremely wealthy, I have seen people come up to council and cry. I have been one of those people. To get help for people, and it's meaningless when you are so insulated in your bubble that you don't feel that suffering. Part of being a public servant is you have to have compassion. And if you have compassion, it's often easier when you're closer to that situation.
Okay. All right, we're going to wrap this up and ask a couple quick fire questions. Okay, Mr. Agajanian, go ahead but I'm going to hold you to 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I'm sorry, we're at it. We got to go.
You have to give me a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two systems of government. One is like New York, like Los Angeles, city council members and mayor, they get salary. And that's the way it has been from forever. But the smaller cities, the idea was people, they come and serve their community. They don't come as a full-time job. They come just as a helping to make it better. Whatever happens around you, because you live there, you work there. I have a TV station I'm running. So I work there. When I come to the city council, I come as a person to help the people. I don't come to get more money from this city. That's not the way it should be, and this has been from day one.
Thank you.
City council members work in the pleasure of community.
Thank you.
Whatever you get is good.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Mr. Bartrasov, you famously said you're going to drop your salary at the last HOA. Please, 30 seconds to you too.
We're hearing a very interesting perspective from people who are independently wealthy on this dais. I am a transportation professional that has worked for the city of Los Angeles for 7 years, and I would need to leave my full-time salaried position in order to serve passionately and willingly for the city of Glendale. When I am elected, if I have earned your vote and support, I do not want to be distracted by having to find other sources of income to do my full-time job, which is here at City Council. I want to attend meetings. I want to have discussions with the community. I want to be able to read a staff report, and you cannot do that on a part-time basis. You need to be fully committed to doing this job.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we promised to keep this at an hour 45. Give us some latitude. If you get bored, walk off. We won't hold it against you. Go ahead, Dr. Clusian.
Yeah, I just want to say, when we call it a luxury that we could do this, I'm also giving up my salary for small business. I like to think of it as a sacrifice. You know, I could use it. I still have a mortgage to pay. I have nobody to help me. I do a lot of positions at USC and Keck Medicine, and I work with the Department of Public Health in LA County, all sacrificing my time, and that's my family's time, because we want to do good and we're looking out for the well-being of our communities. So I was raised seeing that as sacrifice, not a luxury, and I'm okay living small in my small home, but thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Manatsakanyan, last one to you, please.
If people want to give their salary after the election, then that's a condition. I don't think it's fair. I'm a single father. My late wife passed away due to cancer. I'm raising 2 children. And I'm serving the community over decades in Los Angeles, Glendale area. Even though I moved to Glendale about a year, but I'm in the Glendale every single day. I knock the doors, I speak with senior people, I speak with everybody, and this is how I understand that.
Okay,
We need to save
Mr.
our people.
Manatsakanyan, you've hit the time. Okay, one more question, and then we'll try to take at least a couple questions from the audience. This is regarding City Council and its interface with the public. Last year, the city changed the camera angle during council session so that only the backs of public speakers are shown on television, while the faces of outside consultants, city staff, and others are shown. Mrs. Satrian, you led the change as mayor, and you stated at the last HOA forum that it was a response to 3.5 years of division in our city caused by people making false statements and creating chaos. So after 30 years of, and you know, we've been very lucky as a city. We've broadcast our city council meetings, and it's been going on for about 30 years now, as far as I can tell. Why the change now? Mrs. Satrian.
Of course. My position on that hasn't changed. I'm sitting next to the man who, with his group, has been the core of the individuals that have resulted in death threats and rape threats to me and my family.
Okay, let's let her talk,
So,
please.
I have the receipts for it, and if you don't have empathy for that, I don't know what to say to that. We do live in a different time. Oral communication is meant for residents to communicate with their elected officials. It is not meant for that to be a podium to spread hate and misinformation into our community. They are still able to communicate. It is still recorded. It is still transparent. You can hear it and you can see it.
Thank you.
But, sure.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Belekian, I'll let you answer that only because you're referenced.
So after that attempt at character assassination, again, I challenge you to find one thing that I've said or that my husband has said. And by the way, she says we're anti-LGBTQ. Me and my husband are anti-LGBTQ. So again, I challenge you to find something that I've said. Don't try to get at me with guilt by association. Don't try to play yourself as the victim. And again, you said that you gave up your salary. Let's be honest, everyone. She's a lobbyist. She gave up her contracts because they all served as conflicts of interest for what she's doing for the city. She did not give her salary and her contracts up out of the goodness of her heart.
Okay. Time's up.
And
Okay.
this is exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you for proving me right.
Okay. The question is also to you, Mr. Broadman. You also voted in favor of the change. Yet in 2017 and so when you ran in 2020 and 2022, your election campaigns featured social media of you speaking at city council, and yet now there's an inconsistency in your position. What is your response to that?
Okay, I'll respond to that, but we're supposed to go to 4. I have another event. What's going on with the timing? You advertise this as 2 to 4. What's happening?
Well, I gave latitude to people who wanted to speak, and that's what happened. I don't know what to say. I made the best decision I could.
Okay. Well, people do make other plans.
If you like, we'll make this the last question. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
What about
So I'll say the same thing that Mrs. Satrian said. The times have changed, And what was happening was people were using the ability to be in front of a TV camera to spread all kinds of hate and misinformation. We saw it at the school district when they came under attack. The school district made that change and it calmed down the situation in those board meetings. We decided to do the same thing. It had the same effect. I stand by it.
Okay, so Ms. Brooks, as someone who speaks frequently at council, so the change was made to change the tenor and tone of the conversation. What do you say to that?
Yeah, somebody who goes almost every week for almost 2 years, it's so absolutely disrespectful. It's saying that you don't count. Your opinion doesn't mean anything. I will literally watch different angles. They'll have a public person, I'll speak, back of my head. Somebody else will speak, their face. Another member of the public will speak, back of their head. This is absolutely ridiculous. If you're a Democrat, I thought you believe in democracy. I thought you believe in free speech. I don't understand. You're very public about your political party. So how do you not believe in free speech? It's absolutely horrific. You don't have to appreciate, enjoy, or agree with the speech of a person speaking.
Thank you. Okay, last, anyone else want to partake in this one? We'll start over there. Mrs. Sarian.
As we discussed in the previous meeting, this was kind of inkling of dictatorship. I feel in this free country, everybody deserves the freedom of speech. And as we know, most of the communication is nonverbal. So you cannot dissect oral communication from oral communication.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy.
I thought we were going to take questions from the audience as well.
Well, we're juggling.
Mr. Brotman needs to leave for a fundraiser, he can go.
We're juggling.
So there are two types of speech at City Hall in the chamber. For staff members, people receiving proclamations, or consultants, face the camera. For the public, the back of the head. To me, that's a civil liberties violation because someone who is hard of hearing, who is watching at home, can't see the facial expressions of the people. They can read the captions, but those captions are wrong. And I'll give you one example. A woman came up, was talking about Mayor Najarian, and said, he works like a horse. The caption said, he works like a whore. So what has to happen is the camera needs to turn around, and Councilmember Garpetian had a fantastic idea to split the screen. The trouble started in 2023 when Mr. Brotman jumped into the fray of the GUSD issue, and parents came to the early oral communications and gave him a hard time. And what he did when he was mayor in 2023 is he shut down the early oral communications. So this comes across, number one, that's suppression of speech. Okay, we're wrapping it up. And number two, the back of the head is suppression of speech. It's against our First Amendment rights.
Okay, we're wrapping it up. This is the last question.
I definitely agree with Patrick Murphy, and I did advocate about that right on the session there. And regularly, who's there? It's me, Beth Brook and Patrick Murphy, but that we're regular there. I can say that. One thing is, speaking over there, the thing is, even wherever we come and we talk about that there, the thing is, nobody's giving a report, the outcome of that. They document that information, and it gets to nowhere. So what's the point to go there to talk when nobody's doing any action after that? Not even acknowledgement about that. So that's why Glendale Forward is a system. That is your voice. I'm going to give you this paper in the end. Please take one so you can learn more about this one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Kalustian. Dr. Kalustian, sorry.
Yeah, and just to be level-headed about it and try to be united. It's wrong, and if we want more people to come and to feel welcomed at City Council, I would appreciate either split screen or to go ahead and go back to the way it was.
Thank you. Mr. Grigorian, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, before it was more transparent. Right now it's not transparent as it was. And if you are saying that they are coming, the people, and using the opportunity on the TVs to spread hate speech, I believe hate speech is a crime, and by visible face, it's going to be much easier to catch the criminal and punish them.
Okay. Mr. Caribbean.
There's really nothing to hide. What are you fear? What are you scared of? If you haven't done anything wrong, they'll come up to the podium and they'll tell you good things to hear about it. So you don't have to fear about showing your face or their face.
Thank you. Mr. Barchersoff.
I think this is a fringe issue that offends a lot of people on this stage who are most likely to come and be disruptors at city council meetings. I'd love to spend more time talking about the issues that matter to the majority of the public, which is budget issues, making sure that our government is transparent, making sure that we are addressing the budget crisis that we're in, and talking less about camera angles for people who'd like to see their face and talk.
Just to be clear, the reason why the question is here is because it's not about camera angles. It's about, as Mr. Brotman stated, it was an attempt to change the tone and tenor of the speech, which ultimately is doing something to influence the speech. So that was the reason. Mr. Agajanian, this is the last question. He's quick. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was there. I was the mayor. I was the council member. While I was the mayor, I was the only one in the dais. And I always thought what council members should be afraid of if they come and express themselves. Even they come up with profanity. That's the way it's free speech. Unless they threaten you, shouldn't be any problem. And specifically, here is Mr. Mohi. I never stopped him and others. And always, city staff was telling me the time, 2 minutes is over, 3 minutes
Thank you, Mr.
is
Agajanian.
over. They come to speak. Why you stop them?
Thank you, Mr. Agajanian. We are done. One closing remark by Mr. Byron. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, I think that's a wrap. You guys are definitely a very enthusiastic group. I want to thank Paul for his time and effort he's put into the preparation for the questions. And I really want to give a special thanks to all of the candidates. Did you notice that no one shied away from the questions? They gave direct answers. They answered directly all the questions that were asked of them. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your service. We really do appreciate it. So the candidates have got materials back here in the back. I'm sure they'll stick around and mingle a little bit if you'd like to. But don't stick around too long. We've got to be out of here in about 20 minutes. Thank you.